Hi, and welcome to the Melanated Wise Girl After Show. I'm your host, Tatyana, aka your digital Melanated Wise Girl, and this is a show where we talk about Percy Jackson as we journey through the sea of monsters. Well, the journey is over, but that doesn't mean we can't reflect. I'm really excited. I brought back lovely Cam, where we're discussing our episode rankings, and it gets quite interesting to say the least. This is definitely a more visual podcast. I'm going to try to have the episode rankings as we list them up on the screen, but we do say them, and I'll try to also leave them in the description below. But yeah, I hope you enjoy, and let's move into the episode. Hello and welcome, and we're welcome back, Cam. Welcome back.
Woohoo!
Cam, fan favorite, actually. Like your episode.
No way.
Yeah, like to this day.
That's what I like to hear.
The People's Princess has returned, and we're back to do a little bit of a season 2 catch up. But like, anything happened in the past like 9 weeks that like, I don't know, you want to share with the class? Yeah.
So I went to the premiere. That was fun. I got to meet some people that I hadn't gotten to meet when I was on set. I met Virginia Cole, who plays Sally Jackson. That was a highlight.
I feel like we manifested that. So,
dude, I was so nervous to talk to her the whole night. I kept following her around, and every time I would like see her, because like the after party at the premiere was in like 2 separate rooms, so like you would have to like walk back and forth between the rooms. And like every time I saw her, she was like talking to somebody, and I was like, I don't want to interrupt her because like also she's older than me, and that feels disrespectful to interrupt somebody while they're talking. And it got to a point where one of my friends just like tapped her on the shoulder and was like, hi, excuse me, do you think that girl looks like you? And then like turned her around and pointed her at me, and I was like, oh my god, it's so embarrassing. And then I got to meet Charlie Bushnell. He was really nice. I introduced myself to him. I was like, hi, like my name's Cameron. I got to go to the set and like back in December, and you weren't there, so I really wanted to meet you here. And he was like, oh yeah, I know who you are. And I was like, huh? And he was like, I watch your videos. I was like, I think you're lying to me because that sounds ridiculous. And then I met his mom. Charlie's mom came up to me, and she told me she also likes my YouTube videos. And I was like, so he was being serious. I thought that he was
like,
lying.
name the last 3 videos I dropped right now.
Well, I'm sure when they say that, I'm sure that means they've watched like 3 in total, which is fine. The less the better, actually. I'm probably better in smaller doses, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
I love that. I am so happy. Like I said, I was so happy for you then. I'm so happy for you now. That was a hilarious night to just be like eating ramen noodles at home and then just like going online. Other than, let's see, going to the premiere, I think that's like a big major highlight. I do wonder, what is your personal like favorite outside of like, it could be a show moment, like your favorite thing within season 2, like this era as we come to a close?
I mean, okay, I definitely think that their social media game upped a lot. Yeah. Their social media admin, I feel like, is a lot funnier. Definitely a Gen Zer. The say yes to the dress moment was really, really, really funny, and like borderline required. Like
yeah,
because the wedding dress is so iconic. That's just something that you have to do. You simply have to. So that was really funny. I feel like they did a lot of... I just think the press in general for the season was a lot more fun because there were no, like, writers or actors strike this time around. So they had more time to schedule, like, YouTube video, like, interviews with like, those fun, random-ass, like, accounts, like, the video, like, where they're playing, like, Jenga and answering questions off of Jenga blocks, like, stuff like that. Like, was it a kitty interview or a puppy interview? I think it was a puppy
interview, yeah.
Puppy interview. Like, we didn't get to do that last time.
Yeah.
So that was fun. And it was fun having, like, as much as I love our trio, like, it was fun having Daniel, Dior, and Charlie involved as well. Because I think they're really funny. And maybe that's just because they're older. So, like, I get them more, kind of. No offense to my little babies, Walker and Leah. And I say Aryan, but he's also 18. But, like, you know what I mean. I just think the press was better, and I think the social media was on its A game this season.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of it, I was wondering how they're going to do it because of its closeness to Stranger Things. And because, like, just from a PR standpoint, like, I saw... I was like, how are they going to book anything when I know they're also going to be booked? So it was really interesting to see how they did it and how that like worked out, because it worked out really well, I think.
Yeah.
Especially for, I think a lot of people, again, baby's first fandom, expect like the talk shows and all that stuff was in this first run, but I was like, that's a season 3 run.
Did you see Walker
bless
on
his
the
heart.
Jimmy Fallon show talking into the microphone? Literally, bless him. He is so nice. I have now met and spoken with Walker twice, and he is the kindest guy. He really is. That was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my life.
I saw that and I went, oh, please.
And then Jimmy had to tell him. It's funny because that also just means he doesn't watch Jimmy Fallon.
Have you seen the show? The TikToks.
He's never seen it because nobody ever is like talking into the microphone. That's so funny. That was hilarious.
My favorite thing was the lineup for Jimmy Fallon that night was literally all black people and then Walker.
Story of his life, I figured.
Truly, I was like, oh, and there's Mark. Happy Black History Month, by the way.
Exactly. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Now, getting into it, I think it's time so I asked you to come in with your season 2 rankings. So we don't know each other's, for the audience, we don't know each other's rankings. So I thought it would be really fun to reveal this from top to bottom. All right, so we're going to start off with our least favorite episode.
Okay.
I have a feeling we might have the same, but I'm not sure.
I feel like there's a universally acceptable top 3, give or take one episode. Like, I feel like everybody's gonna have kind of the same episodes in their top 3. The order might change, but I feel like roughly the same, so I feel like that also means everybody might have the same episodes towards the bottom. I will say I had my ranking done, and then I rewatched the entire season in one sitting with my fiance, and my ranking did switch around a bit after watching it all in one sitting. So I'll say that.
I agree. I watched the first 2 episodes with my friend who came over, and I was like, oh, okay. Like, once you watch it, all 8, it does change how you view certain episodes. So I try to take that a little bit into consideration. All right. 8. Are you ready? Okay. I don't know. I feel like for podcasts, I actually have people who listen to this in audio, so thanks.
Hey.
So for mine is episode 7.
Mine was episode 7.
Oh, it changed.
It now, though, is episode 1.
Okay.
I play dodgeball with cannibals.
Interesting.
I think it sets up the season really well. I think it sets up season 2 for success. I think when I watch this episode, though, the vibe of it is kind of like, let's hurry up and get going on the quest. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that's a good thing and a bad thing. Because I agree, let's hurry up and go on the quest. Like, that's what I'm here for. I don't think the episode needed to be much longer than it was. Like, I thought that it was a fine runtime. I like that we didn't spend a lot of time at Merryweather Prep. I don't think that was necessarily needed. Things I would change the episode, I would maybe extend that little Merryweather Prep montage that we got by like 1 or 2 scenes. Because it's really only 2 scenes. It's like Tyson falling over in the hallway, and then Tyson turning on a light and then blowing it up. I would maybe give us 1 or 2 more scenes to show how Tyson embarrasses Percy. Like, I think it did a fine job. I think they could have done more with that. They could have done better while also not taking up a lot of our time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then I would also maybe, like, when the trio is getting chased towards Camp Half-Blood by the less Dragonian giants, and they're, like, throwing shit at them, like, I would maybe add a little humor into that and have our characters maybe, like, throw some stuff back at them. That would maybe, like, kind of make it feel more dodgeball-esque, which is the title of the episode. Like, I feel like we could have maybe done a bit more with that scene instead of having it just feel like a chase. Like, we could have done something a bit more dynamic. But other than that, I don't think I would change much else. It's just a fact of I think all the other episodes are better.
No,
it's like fine.
Yeah. I think that's a really fair, because I have one lower, so it's like, I just don't know. I think I felt the same way about like the pilot. I'm glad it was a 2-episode premiere. I think that's the best way to describe it, is like, I'm glad it was 2-episode premiere.
At the premiere, we only watched episode 1, and I was like, that was fun, but also it was just one episode.
I think for me, episode 7 is one of those episodes where I had the same feeling with episode 7 of season 1 of just like, I wish it was longer because we don't get like, there's a lot of beats I wish they sat on for a little bit. Like
I agree.
Yeah, like I think they did a great job with like Percy getting stabbed and like that, but I was like, I wish there was like a conversation or two in between that I feel like we missed.
Yeah, I'll probably talk about this more whenever I get to where episode 7 is ranked, but like the conversations between Luke and Annabeth, I feel like could have been so much better than they were if they were a little longer and a little more emotional, because like this whole season has been leading up to Annabeth and Luke and Thalia and the Thalia of it all, and I just feel like those conversations didn't hit the emotional points that they could have. Like, I feel like Luke should have been crying at one point in front of Annabeth. Like, when they were alone in the room, like, I wanted to see Luke in tears, actually. And I feel like we could have gotten there if we had, like, a little bit more time with the episode and could let those scenes marinate.
Yeah.
And we didn't.
I agree with that. I think letting it take a beat would have helped a lot of the episode. Like, there are enjoyable moments of the episode, and I do like with every episode of the season, but I just think overall, if I kind of rank it as if I would go and watch it again, and I feel like I wouldn't unless I was watching the entire season and I like had to get to that point. So what is your 7 your 7 on the list?
At number 7 I have episode 3, Reboard the Princess Andromeda.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. What do you have?
1.
Okay, there we go. That's fine.
We're close. We're getting there.
So, for me... Okay, so originally my bottom 3, before I rewatched the entire season in one sitting, it went episode 3, then episode 1, then episode 7 was at the bottom. Spoiler alert for my number 6, episode 7 did jump a couple of spots.
Interesting.
But for episode 3, again, it's just like episode 1 for me. It's like, by no means is it a bad episode. I just feel like it pales in comparison to the other episodes.
That's
like,
fair.
There's lots of stuff that I like in this episode. I like that we get to see Ares. Love that.
Right.
I like that we get to see, like, Clarice and her crew on the Ironclad and all that jazz. But, like, I do feel like this episode is affected by our characters being separated. Like, even though they're only jumping back and forth from the Andromeda and the Ironclad, like, I just feel like it was happening a lot in the episode. And sometimes I found myself more interested in what was happening on the Ironclad than on the Andromeda, and that should not be the case, because the Andromeda has our main protagonist and our main antagonist. The Ironclad has our main, like, secondary B-tier character. I shouldn't be more interested in what's going on in the Ironclad. The characters on the Ironclad should not be more compelling to me at this moment than the characters on the Andromeda.
That's fair.
And they are. I think the set for the Andromeda is really impressive, but something about it maybe kind of felt a little lackluster.
Sweet Life on Deck comparisons.
Yeah. Like, there are some things I would change about this episode. Like I said, I love the Ares cameo, but I also feel like we really miss out. Like, when you finally get the season as a whole, in retrospect, like, I feel like you miss out on how awful he is to Clarice in the book.
Yeah, I feel like they took that out. Yeah,
I would have liked them to I know they, like, filmed the scene where, like, Ares is, like, making Clarice feel awful about Percy breaking her spear. Like, I know the cast has talked about the fact that they filmed that, and it's just not in the show, and I feel like that's a horrifically missed opportunity. Like, I think that would be a great scene.
I think there would have been more of an understanding. There's definitely been a tide change with, like, Clarice as a character for the most part throughout the season.
Love to see it. I've been a big advocate for Clarice as a character. I always felt like there was more to her, and the books never really got into it, and I feel like the show got into it, so I'm here for people liking Clarice, personally.
I think it's Clarice being written by women and women identifying people is the key, which I think is the biggest thing with the show to books. Books to show. I think that Ares scene would have been so powerful and very interesting, because that emphasis on the choices that Clarice makes a little later would have been like, oh yeah, did you see how her dad acted towards her?
Well, yeah,
like,
I just felt like, I thought at this point, like when we were watching it week to week, when I finished episode 3, I was like, oh, we're definitely going to see Aries later in the season then.
Yeah.
Because there's no way that was it. And then it was it. And I was like, oh, well, it was fun and it was funny, but I wanted angry. I wanted pissed. I wanted mean. And I didn't get that. So that's like probably the biggest thing I would change about this episode.
Yeah. I think I think for me, I get that. I have 3 a little higher. But for me, it was episode 1, like you were saying before, but also just like, I just don't know what it is with like Percy Jackson episode 1s that I'm like always just like, thank God they do 2 episode premieres. it's
I
just,
feel like that's so needed for just the way the books are set up. Like almost every Percy Jackson book follows the same formula, I fear.
Yeah.
And it's like, you have the episode where Percy's in New York out of school and something's going to happen that makes him leave New York, and he's going to go to Long Island to camp, and then there's probably a monster somewhere, and then he'll talk to people at camp, and then he's at camp for episode 2. The structure is he's at camp, and eventually something's going to happen that's going to make him leave camp. Like, that's just the structure, and that's just something that you need to have back to back. Like,
yeah. Like, you can't have an episode, I feel like you can't have a premiere without, like, them being at camp at some point. So that tracks. I don't know. I feel like maybe season 3, episode 1 will break that curse. We'll see.
Well, they're just going to be at a school that's, like, not there.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go to camp, and we're going to be, guess what? We're going to be playing Capture the Flag in episode 2. Like, it's going to be actually a mirror of season 1.
Basically. But this time, everybody is even more upset.
At this time, everyone's just sad, and it's also cold outside.
It's like season 1, but snow. How you pitched it, Camp Half-Blood, but it's snowing outside. You need something a little more than that. Okay, somebody's missing. Okay, that was last book. Annabeth goes missing.
Everyone's always missing. Yeah, the books can get kind of repetitive, which is why I'm always fine with this show changing things, because I feel like, I don't know, I love the books, obviously. I love the universe. I don't think that the Percy Jackson books are, like, peak literature.
Oh, absolutely not. I can't.
It's okay. It's not like seeing what's happening with, like, the Wuthering Heights movie, where it's like, oh, you know, change is fine. It's just an adaptation. No, that's different. Wuthering Heights is, like, a bit of a more serious literature, like, piece of literature. Like, I think
there's some things that we shouldn't change.
Some things just don't need to have Jacob Elordi on the book cover. That's what I think.
Especially a book with a POC protect. You know what you're
I think there's sometimes there's different books for different, you know what I mean? But like for Percy Jackson, the books are great. They're great, especially when you're like 10.
Yeah.
And like I still reread them now because I love them, and also I make content on them. But like it is a child's book, which is good. That's great. Children need books. But it's like you can change them. And I think it's fine to change them sometimes.
Yeah. I think overall, it's just like, I feel like this season is, I've said this before, so I'm probably repeating myself, of like the biggest season that's probably going to take away from the books. Like, yeah, The Sea of Monsters is like the least favorite book for most people. Like,
as the books like go on, they're gonna feel like they need to change less and less, if that makes sense. Yeah. Which I feel like is logical, because if you think about when Rick was writing these books, like when he was writing The Lightning Thief and The Sea of Monsters, like he didn't know everything that was gonna be in Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian. Like he didn't have all that information already. He probably knew like where Luke was gonna end up, right? Yeah. But like he didn't have every single piece of the puzzle like mapped out, most likely. So the show does. So like the show can change things. And Rick is probably like, yeah, I wish I would have written it like this, so let's change it.
Yeah, he's like, oh wait, that's actually pretty, yeah, I like that right there. Yeah. Keep that in. Yeah, like I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, book 2 is probably gonna have to be changed, and like,
and
especially
thank God.
All right. moving on to, you already talked your episode 6, which is...
Yes, my number 6 is going to be episode 7.
Yeah.
Which jumped a few spots for me. And I will say I don't think it's like necessarily a coincidence that the episodes that take place on the Andromeda are on the lower end of my spectrum.
That's right.
No offense to the Andromeda.
No offense, girly, but
when I was watching them week to week, when episode 7 ended, I was like, where's the rest of my episode? I was like, that was the first time that I actually felt like the runtime could have been a little longer. And not like by much. Like, I'm talking just like 5-10 minutes. Like, not a lot. And then on rewatch, when I watched the season as a whole, when I was able to go directly into the finale, I was like, wait, that actually got me really lit. Like, I was actually really excited to go into the finale, which is what a penultimate episode needs to be. Like, it's supposed to get you excited to go into the finale. Like, I do feel like episode 7 has one of my favorite endings as an episode. Like, I like Luke getting controlled by Kronos. I think Charlie's acting is great. I think the fight scenes in this episode are good. I liked the bit with, like, Tyson and Grover calling Sally.
That was really funny. Tyson's nod is so ingrained in my brain.
Yes, he's so funny. Like I said, though, things I would change, like, I would add, like, 5 or 10 more minutes. I would probably extend the scenes where Annabeth and Luke are talking alone, like, just the two of them. Like, just to get, like, some more emotion out of them. Like, I feel like Kronos cut us off by giving Luke a headache, and then Luke left. You know what I mean? Like, I would have liked to
gave him a migraine. Oh.
Yes, I would have liked to see, like, them pleading with each other more to, like, get the other person to join their side.
Yeah.
Like, I would have liked to see Luke really recruiting Annabeth, and I would have liked to really see Annabeth recruiting Luke. And I just feel like I didn't get enough of that. But other than Luke and Annabeth's moments, I liked everything else about the episode. The Luke and Annabeth moment was the only part of the episode that I felt like was rushed on rewatch. I was like, that's the only thing that I wish we would have gotten a little more of. Everything else, I think, flowed a lot better on rewatch for me. So that's why this episode jumped up a couple of spots.
I think so. My 6 is, I'm about to get jumped for what I'm about to say. Episode 5.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, so hear me out. Actually, don't hear me out. Give me a second.
Literally, what's wrong with you?
Okay, here's the thing. When it comes to my next 3, if I wasn't doing this in like a...
You have episode 3 above episode 5?
That's the only 2 that are like side by side because they flip-flop for me.
Maybe you'll change your mind when you hear me talk about episode 5.
Fair. Okay, so yeah, I will
mind.
say episode 3 is my 5, and those 2 flip for me right now. I haven't sat down and watched the full season yet, so it could change. But for me, I think I originally had episode 5 here. It's because I do like episode 5 a lot, and it starts to get really hard for me. But I think it was something about just like, and it's the Annabeth featured episode, so it's like, for me, that's like, you know, all the 9 yards. I don't know if it was something about the writing for me or just like, which I love, but also I don't know. I'm actually like spiraling right now trying to think of this.
I will say this, it is hard for episode 5 to be sandwiched in between episodes 4 and 6.
Oh my god, I think episode 3, 4, 5, and 6 is a generational run. Truly, I do think it's an incredible, great
4,
run.
5, and 6 are a generational run, and that's
Yeah.
why initially I felt like episode 7 was so lackluster. Because every Wednesday, I would sit and react to the episode, and then I would leave and, like, go out into the rest of my apartment. My fiance would always be like, how's the episode? And so for 4, 5, and 6, I was like, oh my god, best episode of the show. And then when episode 7 happened, I was like, it was good. It wasn't great, but also we did just have a generational run, so it's like, you can only have a generational run for so long.
Yeah.
But then on rewatch, it didn't feel like as much of a drop-off as it did initially.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
But
so your number 6 is episode 5.
Yeah. My number 5 is episode 5. And the episode 3. That's the 2 that switch.
My number 5 is episode 2.
Interesting. I have that high. I higher up.
Well, out of 8 episodes, I mean, number 5 is not a bad spot to be.
No.
I like episode 2 more than episode 1, 100%.
That's fair.
I feel like it's funnier. I liked the action in this episode. I think the chariot race is fantastic. I feel like I have extra appreciation for the chariot race because I know how much work went into it. I love the Hermes cameo. I'm an advocate. I am an advocate. I need a shirt. I have a shirt that says I Heart Poseidon. I need a shirt that says I Heart Lin-Manuel Miranda as Hermes because I am an advocate for his casting.
I feel like it's you and like 2 other people.
and we're the only 2 people that are right. We're the only 2 people that are right, I swear. His casting is fantastic, and I won't hear anybody else say anything about it. Because if anybody's going to play a sad and depressed and shitty father, it's gonna be Lin-Manuel Miranda.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point.
The line where he's talking to Percy and he's talking about Luke and he's like, he's my son. And Percy's like, he hates you. And then he goes, he's my son. Oh! I had goosebumps for like a week. I was like, that was really, really good. I have goosebumps thinking about it. I do. And then, like I said, the humor in this episode was really funny. Things I would change about this episode, I don't know. I'd maybe just like give us more moments with Chris because in retrospect,
we did only have one. Yeah.
With how big his betrayal kind of ended up feeling, I maybe would have given him a couple more scenes like with Clarice and with Percy maybe.
Yeah.
Even though I did hate him immediately in his one scene in this episode, immediately I was like, I get bad vibes. Get away from me and get away from Clarice. But other than that, I wouldn't change much. I just think I loved the other episodes a lot more. Like, I feel like for me, there's a clear divide between the episodes that are in 5, 6, 7, 8 and the episodes that are in 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's fair. I think for me was choosing, because mine is 3, I really like, I do agree. I feel like my biggest thing was this season when it comes to like episodes has been the length in a runtime. And one thing you said about 3 was how it felt like we were going back and forth. That was my biggest thing. I was like, if there was something that easily connected those 2 paths more, or even maybe a Grover scene in there that kind of connected where they were both heading to, because
no, I think a Grover scene would have ruined it.
You think it would have ruined it?
Yes, I can. Yeah, I have a point about that later on. I can't remember for which episode it is, but I do have a point where I talk about like there's an episode where also all of our characters are split up, and yet they do a better job at jumping to like where our characters
I think I know
are.
what you're referring to, and yeah.
It's just like, but in episode 3, it was like. Maybe it's just like one too many cuts. I don't know. Like I know the end of episode 3 is like you feel like we're at the end of the episode on the Ironclad when Clarice is like rallying her troops, and that feels like the end of the episode. And
then
you
cut back like to
But then you cut back to them on like the lifeboat, and it's like, okay, so it's not the end of the episode. When is the episode gonna end? You've ended the episode 3 times now. It's just lots of cutting.
Yeah, it feels like if something was switched in the editing booth. I feel like they're like, we have to begin with Percy and end with Percy, and I think that's the biggest thing with like that episode's like downfall, because they could have ended that with Clarice and it would have made sense.
I agree, especially because she ends with being like, with her French guy goes, Capitan, and he's like, you have the wrong coordinates. It puts us in the middle of New Jersey. That's a weird spot for the Sea of Monsters, no? And she just like remembers that Percy has the coordinates, and she just goes Jackson. Like that could have fucking ended the episode.
That's a great ending to the episode. I think that would have been a fantastic ending. But yeah, I don't know, something about some of the humor of episode 3, and I do enjoy. And I think, like, I don't know, for some reason, the whole idea of the Princess Andromeda having a marketing team tickled me for like a week.
That's funny.
Like them having like graphic designers and like people to make like make stuff, like that concept of it. It's an episode I feel like I can watch over
that's fair,
and over again, and I like it. But yeah, I do wish I think it was that the Aries scene was in this episode, and I do wish they included that, because I feel like that would have been so much better. On the 4 spots.
Spot number 4.
I have no idea how we're going to get here. I forgot what episodes we got left for each of us. So
do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I'm going to go first.
Okay. What do you have at spot number 4?
I have episode 4. Which was really hard.
4 and up shouldn't even be that difficult for you because you already put episode 5 below spots 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you shouldn't even be struggling. You already got rid of one of the episodes that should be in your top 4.
Look. The only reason that I have 4 here, and I'm looking at I have one episode ranking that I actually would put here instead, but I said 4, so I'm going to stick to it.
Okay.
For that reason, I'm like, no, I'm going to stick to my guns, but I do have an episode I would put here instead, now that I think about it. That's higher, and I kind of wish I swapped it. But episode 4 is one of my favorite episodes of the season. That's why I'm like 4 and up.
But
it didn't make the top 3.
Top 3. That's crazy.
I know. It's actually the spot that I'm looking at. It would have made it 2. So I love episode 4. I think it's one of those great episodes. The reason why it's just like a little bit low, here's the thing, anything I say I feel like is gonna be anti-black because this is the one episode with a black writer. During Black History Month. Actually, why am I doing this to myself?
I've got episode 4 ranked high. Black History Month, everybody. Not in my house.
You know what? I feel like for Black History Month.
No, keep it where it is. I mean, you can revisit at the end of the ranking.
When this is like cut up so that like you don't see any of it. Actually, let's pretend. No, I'm gonna stick. Okay, I love episode 4. I think it is a really good episode. I feel like 4 episodes, when we were talked about how our lack of like runtime, I think episode 4 does an incredibly great job at taking its runtime and still being a high stakes, really good episode.
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard to do. I feel like when I made this list, I had my reason why I put it lower. And now I can't remember. And I feel like that's a bad sign.
I can remind you of everything that's in the episode really quick if you want.
Okay.
I have it all written down.
Because I love the flashbacks.
Yeah, we get multiple Thalia flashbacks. Tyson and Percy bond on the beach. Clarice and Percy fight on the beach. Everyone's on the Ironclad ship together and bantering. Yeah. We see how much Clarice cares about her crew and vice versa. We get Laura on Annabeth's bracelet. We see Percy access some of his sea powers. Rainbow cameo. Percy and Annabeth have a conversation about Thalia and about human choices. In quotes, it only took me 2 days to know how special you were. Clarice and men are all willing to sacrifice themselves. Percy and Clarice have a great convo and bonding moment while they make sandwiches. They enter the Sea of Monsters. Amazing visuals and VFX. Clarice changes her mind. Music! And then Percy has the most Percy Jackson moment ever.
And it's making me wonder if I accidentally did a typo and I'm trying to decide if this was a good decision.
Here, for me, at spot number 4, I have episode 5. We check into Cece's spot and resort.
Okay, I get that.
Crushed and shocked that this did not make my top 3. And I think that's just a compliment to the other episodes that are going to be in my top 3. People were complaining that this episode needed to be longer, and I hard disagree on that.
Oh, absolutely not.
I think if the episode was any longer, we would have just been meandering around at Cersei's. I don't think we needed that at all. I think it had great writing, great pacing. Overall, I feel like it had a great flow to it. Like, I feel like when you rewatch something, if it hits just as well as the first time, it's like, yes, that's a good episode. I think we had just enough focus on Cersei. It wasn't too much, but it wasn't not enough. You know what I mean? This episode has its cuts back to Grover and Clarice, which I feel like are a bit better than the cuts that happened in episode 3, because we're cutting back to 2 of our characters instead of just one of them. And like, I feel okay being interested in the Clarice and Grover stuff while I'm also interested in the Cersei stuff, obviously, but I feel okay and I don't feel guilty being interested in that because it's 2 of our characters. Versus like in episode 3, I felt bad that I was more interested in the Clarice stuff than what was happening on the Andromeda, because that's like 1 main character versus like 4. So that was, I liked the Hyla and Blackbeard cameos. That was fun. Percy's whole conversation with Annabeth in the hallway about like fatal flaws and all that stuff. Like, I thought that was some of the best writing in the season. Deadass. Like, that has one of my favorite quotes when Percy's like, human choices. That's me. That's all I am. Ugh.
Which I think does play really good. Okay. Now that you talked
So
about
good.
episode 5, I do remember why I had it ranked a little bit lower.
And I haven't even spoken about the sirens yet.
Oh my god.
Probably one of the best parts of the episode. The sirens are so good. The costumes are fantastic. The music was so good. The makeup was amazing. And I liked the visions that Annabeth saw. I thought that it was juicy. When Athena showed up, I was shocked to my core. I don't know if I wouldn't change much about this episode. I maybe would have given us an underwater bubble just because, like, why not? You were already underwater in the first place. You were already there. Just make a bubble. And then, as much as I love the siren scene, I do feel like I would have liked to see Annabeth be really emotional after the fact. I feel like she kind of recovered from seeing her mom a bit too quickly for my liking. That felt like something that should have been a lot more traumatic. Also, especially because she just had to physically stab Percy and Luke. I don't know. I liked the visuals that the show gave us more than the book, but I think the book had more like raw emotion after the fact from the characters, and I would have liked to see a nice combination of the two, because like in the book, Annabeth is like breaking down sobbing over seeing Athena, her dad, and Luke have a picnic. Like, that's all she saw or whatever. I feel like she should have been more emotional over what happened in the show. So that would be the only thing I would change. I would make her, not saying I want to see her cry, but like
That's fair.
I would have loved to see some very raw emotions from her after that, and I feel like we just didn't get much of that. That's the only thing that I would change.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, that made me remember, now that you were talking about that, it made me remember why I had it ranked a little bit lower. And I think one of those reasons was that I think the siren scene was great. Like, how the siren scene happened was really cool. I love the version of expectations. I do love that it was changed from the books. Other than that fact that I feel like so often with, particularly like, and we do get that within the acting performances and stuff like that, particularly with Black girls, we're really are seen to see them be really like strong and stuff. So I think it would have been really, really powerful to see not her break down, but to have her walls down and her actually break down. Yeah. It's like, it's hard to explain this without being like, we want to see this 13-year-old girl cry.
Yes, like, I don't want to say that I want to see a 13-year-old break down and horrifically sob, but like, I do want to see her horrifically sob. Like, you know, like when someone's crying, like, have you ever seen somebody cry and you can tell there's like, they're crying from their chest and you're like, oh, those are real. That's real crying. It's not just like, it's like you're heaving almost. Like, I wanted to see Annabeth like dry heave on the boat almost. Like, because also what she saw was like traumatizing on top of traumatizing on top of traumatizing. And she just like brushed over it really quickly.
Yeah. One of those, like, I don't think the episode could have been longer, but I wish there was that beat more of her recovering after the fact. I think that would have been really important to just showcase that, like, you can tell she's shaking up, and I like the conversation that they had, but I do wish there was more. And I think even Walker said this, like, I wish there was more of the comforting aspect of her being kind of taken care of, because I feel like that would have been really nice to see. But like Vanilla, the icon, the guinea pig icon, I can't not mention.
Gonna spot 3.
If we're getting to the point now where just like, what else? I feel like, okay.
What do you have at spot number 3?
Okay, spot number 3. I actually do feel very confident with spot number 3. Episode 8.
Okay, this is the first one that we have at the same spot. That's crazy, by the way. Yeah, my spot number 3 is also episode 8.
I think episode 8, to me, I think it's a great finale. I think once you get, like you said, to the top 3, it's like, it's hard, but I'm like, it's a great finale. It goes perfectly into what we're about to see. I like the changes that they made. I was like, as soon as they revealed about Thalia's tree early, I was like, something else happened. But I was like, we never really figured out how Thalia was turned.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like it was like, everyone's like, oh, yeah, we don't know how Thalia was turned. And I remember like sitting with episode 7 And I was like, it was like 7 a.m. before I was supposed to go to work. And I was like, wait, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Deli was changed against her will.
I remember being like, when I finished episode 7, I was like, okay, so we still haven't seen Zeus. And I know they recast Zeus for season 2. I know Courtney B. Vance is in this season. And I was like, I knew they recast him, like, because Thalia was going to be in this season. And when we hadn't seen him by episode 7, I was like, okay, literally the only thing I've ever seen him in is Let It Shine. And I felt like he was preaching to Thalia during that scene.
Courtney B. Vance is as soon as they announced him to be the replacement, I was like, oh, no. He's, like, very well known for being, like, the terrible dad. So I was like, yeah, that tracks. Yeah. Or, like, a terrible, like, not a terrible person, but he's, like, always the other guy.
No, I was so excited. Let It Shine is, I think, one of the best DCOMs.
Yeah.
I was hype. I was like, hell yeah.
One of my first YouTube videos ever, it's off the internet now, was on Let It Shine. And, like, talking about it. Because I was like, nobody's talking about this movie. This is, like, a cultural moment. And, like, almost everybody in the movie is, like, big now, which is crazy.
Yeah. I went through, like, a run of making my fiance watch DCOMs that I love that he never saw. Because, like, he saw, like, High School Musical and stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, he never watched Lemonade Mouth. He never watched Teen Beach Movie. He never watched Let It Shine. And I was like, no, I have to actually show you these fantastic.
The 2011-2012 run was fantastic.
Yeah. He, like, wasn't checked in for that. And I was like, we have to educate you, actually.
Let It Shine is, like, I think, still to this day, it's the last very much black-led Disney movie, which is
Probably.
DCOM, which I think is crazy. But also just, like, my entire family was seated. Like, it wasn't even just, like... Yeah. Me, like, everybody was like, oh, a black movie with Courtney B. Vance and, like, all these people, and, like, you know, we knew him from Everybody Hates Chris at the time. Yeah, we're gonna sit here, we're gonna watch this movie, and Coco Jones and, like, all these people, and Trevor Jackson, who doesn't sing in it, which is very funny because he sings. I find that hilarious. That I don't know what.
And then the guy from
Sunny with a Chance. Oh,
two different kinds of people. Two very different people. Okay, wait. Out of curiosity.
Yes.
If I asked you what your favorite DCOM is, what's your answer?
This is very hard because it would depend. Because I feel like for me, my favorite DCOM is in, like, different eras of Disney Channel.
That's fair. I have one answer that's, like, my overall answer, though.
I feel like one that I can rewatch again and again. I would maybe my first response out of it's Cheetah Girls 2, but, like.
You could stop because that's my answer, and that is
Perfect.
The correct answer.
It's the correct answer.
I was gonna tell you that is my favorite DCOM. When I wanted to make Chris watch Cheetah Girls 2, he was like, "But we have to watch Cheetah Girls 1 first," and I was like,
"No, we don't. No, you don't."
No, we don't. But he's a completionist, so we did anyways. And I was like, "You see why I said we didn't have to watch it now?" And he was like, "Yeah." Cheetah Girls 2, I think, is one of the best movies ever. The soundtrack, incredible. Romance, incredible.
Hit after hit.
I went to Spain in 2017, and the entire time I was like, Cheetah Girls, Cheetah Girls, Cheetah Girls. The Cheetah Girls were here. The Cheetah Girls were right here. Oh, it's so good.
It's such a good. I had my mom when I was like 8, or when it came out. She printed off the lyrics to every song at work. It was huge.
My first concert was Cheetah Girls.
It was awesome. My first concert was also Cheetah Girls.
And Allie and AJ opened for them.
Vanessa Hudgens opened my stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. No, I love Cheetah Girls too. It's literally like almost objectively the best one. Like the best DCOM.
It's so good. And it's Kenny Ortega, so it makes sense.
Well, of course.
Yeah. The songs are good. I was like, I would never, if they asked me, if I ever was in a universe that was famous enough to be asked to be on Dancing with the Stars, I would probably never do it. But if they did a DCOM night, I don't know. I would think about it.
That Drew Seeley song?
That Drew Seeley, Dance With Me, that never being in a Dancing with the Stars dance is crazy to me. Crazy
Yearning
work.
has never been so fantastic as it is between Dorinda and What's His Face. Literally.
Not knowing his name.
I can't think of his name. He's like a count or something. I don't fucking know.
I forgot.
Dorinda. Literally, I'm gonna watch Cheetah Girls 2 after this.
Yeah,
No,
I'm like, I have to listen to that entire soundtrack tonight.
I've had a hankering to watch Cheetah Girls 2 a lot recently, so.
It's so good. Every song, it's like the beginning song, like when you start with like just a banger like that, you're like, yeah, it's going to be.
It's banger after, there's not a single miss on the soundtrack.
No.
Not a single miss.
Which is very hard to do.
Not even the songs with Marisol. Not even the songs with her. Hits, bangers, all of them.
Oh, and it ends perfectly. It's like great. It's like, yeah, we know they won the competition. We don't need this is
literally. How do we get what? Okay, we need Kenny Ortega to direct an episode of Percy Jackson. That's what I think.
The musical episode.
Yes. Oh my god. And we can do it. I believe in us.
We can commit to this. We'll start the petition today.
So he definitely had something to do with changing her to a tree.
Yeah.
Because that's just shady. I think episode 7 is when we get the flashback of, like, we see her about to fight the Furies, and then it just cuts immediately to, like, the next morning, and everyone's staring at her tree. And Chiron in that scene literally killed me. Because he's like, here stands Thalia, a mark of true demigod bravery.
Him with his notes in his hands.
And Zeus has changed her into a tree out of his mercy. And he is so ever-loving, our good King Zeus. And it was like, I was like, he's lying. I'm sure it was, he was instructed to act it in that way, because the minute the flashback was happening, I was like, this is shady. This doesn't make sense. He's lying. So,
also, the flashback having, like, 6 campers, I was like, oh, y'all suck.
They had nobody there. But no, I literally loved episode 8. So much.
Yeah.
When we found out the runtime of the finale, everybody and their mother was like worried about the runtime. I wasn't necessarily worried because I'm not really somebody that thinks that the runtimes need to be longer normally. I'm more of somebody that's in the we should have more episodes camp rather than longer episodes. I think, okay, I liked season 5 of Stranger Things. Whatever. I liked how it ended, all that jazz. However, I do think Stranger Things Season 5 might be an example that longer runtimes don't necessarily always mean better episodes. TV began with telling a story in 30 minutes. That's what TV started as, and I think that you can tell your episode story in 30 minutes with good storytelling and good writing. I think it's possible. So I think Percy Jackson can do that. I just think if we have more episodes, like 10 episodes a season, we can spend a little more time in certain places. Like if we had 10 episodes, we wouldn't have to get off the Andromeda by the end of episode 7. We could have stayed on the Andromeda, and that would give you more time with the moments on the Andromeda, right? I wasn't worried about the runtime for the finale. I loved everything with Thalia's change.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's better. Sorry, I really hate to say it, but it's better.
It is. I enjoy it. I think it also plays into how season 3 is going to take place, because now you're kind of like, ooh, what's gonna happen? Like, you know what's gonna happen, like, if you read the books, but it's like, oh, now I can see why they were really beefing within the season. I see how things could have led up to them almost killing each other during Capture the Flag.
I think Thalia is a fun character, and I know she has a lot of people that love her from the books, but I think just by this change alone, they've made Thalia more interesting in the show than she ever has been in the books.
I agree.
That's infinitely more fascinating for her character. Okay, I can't believe we've gotten this far into episode 8 without me saying it.
Here we go. Oh my god. Here we go.
Poseidon was in this episode.
I'm actually very surprised that we have episode 8 at the same with Poseidon's
Well, I have to be realistic. But I loved his cameo. He's so sexy. Poseidon, I love you. But the reason I say that is because I love, like the scene that he has with Percy, where Percy's like, did you have me so that I would be a weapon for you? And he was like, no, trust me. You were born out of love. Don't worry about it. And then like 5 minutes later, we're getting the scene with Zeus and Thalia. And Zeus is like, you will be my weapon, actually, and you have no choice in the matter. And Thalia's like, no, actually, I don't think I will.
It's like, so actually, no, I think we could, like, leave, actually.
And I feel like, I don't know if you saw my tweet about this. You might have. Like, Poseidon knowing. I think it's heavily implied that Poseidon knows what Zeus did to Thalia because like Percy asks him in the dream, and then Poseidon says brace yourself, and Percy wakes up. So like it's very implied to me that Poseidon knows what happened. It really changes the way that you watch the scene between Poseidon and Zeus in season 1.
Yeah.
It changes it so much. Like Poseidon literally is being sarcastic.
It's like, oh, same as your Thalia,
like
and then
Thalia?
You ran it back in a remix.
Whose bravery inspires all demigods. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's
the one in the tree?
I always thought, when I watched season 1, I literally always thought that it was so odd that Zeus backs away from that as well. And, like, with this context, like, recontextualizing it, it makes sense why Zeus would back away in that moment. But, like, okay, fine.
Yeah, because you don't want people fighting out. You changed you got mad at your daughter and decided she's going to be a tree now.
I think that the battle that happened on Half-Blood Hill was great. I thought the cinematography of that was really good, and I liked the fight choreography between Percy and Luke. I thought that, like, Luke was crazy. I liked seeing him, like, punch the crap out of Percy.
That was crazy. I was just like, damn, what the, like, I was very shocked. There's multiple moments that I, like, gasped because I was so shocked that, like, I knew they were going to go there, and they eventually have to because, like, it gets, people die. But, like, the amount of people that got sliced.
Oh, yeah, people were getting stabbed left and right. Oh, yeah, Chris had his little betrayal moment with Clarice. That was also in this episode. That was good. I don't know how they're going to make sense that Clarice would go into the labyrinth for him at this point, but whatever. I trust the writers of the show. I wouldn't if it was me. I personally wouldn't go near his ass.
Dying.
I'd be like, oh. Aw. Anyways. And then I liked, Tyson's little speech to Percy, being like, you're my brother. That made me sob horrifically.
Oh my god. I think I was, like, close to tears. But it was also, like, 5 a.m. when I was watching, so I was like...
No, I experienced the craziest range of emotion in that 2 minutes, going from, oh my god, Poseidon is literally so sexy, I'm so happy he's on my screen, to viscerally sobbing because Tyson is talking to Percy. It was a roller coaster.
No, as soon as I saw Tyson pop up, I was like, oh, wait, oh, this is that scene. Oh.
No, and then Tyson leaves, and then Poseidon says his one line about Sally, where he's like, there are things more powerful than the will of the gods. And he's like, fate is one of them, but love is another. I was like, oh my god.
I'm glad we agree. I have the same sentiments. I love the finale. I think it's a great finale, and I like that we got more with Thalia than just her waking up. Like, me too. She, like, spoke a little bit, and we got to see a bit of her interact with people. Like, that was good. Her reuniting with Annabeth. Oh my god, no. There's like a final shot that's like maybe my favorite shot of the entire season. That's like, it's like a wide shot in that moment where it's like Percy's on the left and then like Grover's in the middle, like holding his arms out, like ready to like mediate the two of them, and then Thalia is on the right with like Annabeth tugged really tightly into her side. I'm like, this shot to me is cinema. This is fantastic. No, I agree. I love that that's one of the final, if not the final shot of the season. I think that makes... It's one of them. It's one of them, yeah. It makes so much sense. And when they said it teases up to what we are... The voiceover is so good. It lines up perfectly with Percy's voiceover in the first episode. Percy's like, you guys get nightmares, right? Well, not like mine. Demigod dreams, blah, 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 blah. And then in the finale, he's like, you guys get nightmares, right? Well, not like mine, because mine just woke up. I know that the writers' room celebrated after they wrote that. They said, yes. They're like, we ate that. We ate that. Yes. As they should. They did. As they should. As they should. Okay. So I cannot believe that you have episode 2 in your top 2. For the love of God. Now that I'm looking at it, now that we have gotten to that, I would switch 4 and 2. Okay. And that's T. Because my number 2 spot is episode 4. Interesting. Given the circumstances, I have an idea of how I'm gonna do the rankings, and it's gonna be like me doing a cross out. Okay, like, I changed my mind, which means we both have the same episode 1. Yes, of course. Which I think is valid. I'll talk about what I like about episode 4 Yes.
real quick. I think the VFX are perfect. Literally, when I finished watching episode 4 for the first time, I left my office, I went out into my living room, and I said, Chris, put Percy Jackson episode 4 on the TV right now. I was like, I need to watch the ending sequence on the biggest screen available to me at the current moment. I loved the moments between Clarice and Percy. I loved the moments between Clarice and Annabeth. I think Clarice and Annabeth's moments together are a lot more subtle than Clarice and Percy's, but Clarice and Percy also have more of a hill to get over when it comes to their friendship. Clarice and Annabeth have known each other for years, so their moments together are a lot more subtle, which I really like. This episode talks a lot about, like, human decisions versus demigod decisions, which is, like, my favorite theme to come out of season 2. This episode also has all the Thalia flashbacks. Those work really well for me. This episode is the perfect example of cutting to and from, because we're with all of our characters on the Ironclad. We cut away to flashbacks for Thalia, but these flashbacks include Luke, so we get that checked off. We get that satisfied, and these flashbacks also include Grover, so we don't cut to Grover alone in this episode at all, which is perfect. But we get like the satisfaction of seeing Grover because it's Grover in the past. Perfect. If anything, that's kind of what episode 3 is missing, like, because we're not cutting to any flashbacks, but we're also not cutting to Grover, so it feels weird maybe that Grover's not there.
Yeah,
but, like,
I would
you can't cut to Grover because that would just make it worse. So, like, the way that they do the flashbacks in this episode, I think, are perfect. They developed Thalia and her relationship with our characters perfectly. I liked the dead crew on the Ironclad, like Mitch from Blockbuster. All that's hilarious to me. I liked getting to see Clarice be a bit more emotional, talking about how, like, specifically characters that are like black girls don't get to be emotional. They always kind of have to be like strong and harsh. Liked getting to see Clarice be emotional. Really appreciated that, because Clarice as a character in general, book or show Clarice, like, is always just a really hard exterior. So I liked getting to see some holes be poked into that. And then I liked getting to see Percy use some of his powers. Episode 4 is perfect to me, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Look.
I cannot believe you don't have it higher. You're crazy.
Okay, honestly, like, I can take, like, most of it. I generally am looking at this now and going, I feel like I accidentally switched these when I was typing them. Because I'm thinking of it right now, and I'm like, no, that, like, episode 4 is, like, one of my 2 favorites of the season, and it changes with 6.
It's literally one of the best. And the writing is so good. Like,
it's so good.
There's one line that every time I think of the delivery of it, it makes me laugh, where Annabeth is talking to Percy, and she's like, do you have the juice for that?
And
Incredible. That was the most like, flow state Annabeth has reached in the entire show.
She was like, can you do that?
That was such great line delivery. It was insane.
It was great line delivery, and I think I tweeted, I was like, only a black person could have wrote this, and only a black person could have delivered this, and it worked out. Correct. One thing I have with Percy Jackson, like, unrelated to, like, episodes, is that I do wish they brought in more directors of color within their next few. I don't think they do that enough. I think we have, I forgot her name, but she did season 1 episode 5. She's back for season 3, but they don't really have directors of color, and I do wish we had, like, a black director or 2 going into the next. But also, it's just
at least they do have some girl directors, though, which is nice. It would be pretty sucky if it was just all male white directors.
Oh my god.
Like, at least we've got a girl in there somewhere.
Yeah, they do at least have, like, 1 or 2 female directors a season, which I do appreciate. I just wish it was a little bit more diverse, like, the crew and everything, but I think that's just, like, one of those things that, like, I would push for in, like, the next few. Also, not having more than, like, 8 episodes would help that a lot.
Yeah, I really don't know who's in charge of that. I really should have asked that when I was on set. Do we want to talk about our number 1 spot?
I mean, yeah, we have to. Episode 6. Duh.
Obviously. Episode 6, Nobody Gets the Fleece. Literally, objectively, I think the best episode of the season. My fiance, like I said, I made him watch all of season 2 when it all came out, because he's not a week-to-week person, which I can't blame him. And he has never read the books. He read The Lightning Thief maybe, like, 10 plus years ago.
Yeah.
But he's never read any of the other books, so he has no idea what the Sea of Monsters is about. And objective, like, he even finished the season, he was like, yes, episode 6 is the best episode. So I just think objectively, like, that is the best episode of the show.
Like, finishing the episode, I was like, that was great, fantastic. Like, I loved it. I wanted to watch it again as soon as I finished it. And I think that's like the perfect indicator of like, oh, this was a fantastic episode. I feel like it had everything that you would want in a Percy Jackson episode. No, literally. Like, if I was, like, in my notes for my episode ranking, I have, like, you know, it's all, like, ordered and structured in a way where it's, like, I talk about what's in the episode, and then I talk about the things I love in the episode, and then the things that I didn't like and what I would change. And for this episode, I go, things I loved about this episode. I can't write everything, so I guess I'm going to have to come up with a list. But episode 6 had a lot of book changes. A lot of book changes. And I fear every single one of them was fantastic. It worked. It made sense. I loved it. Luke calling Annabeth, insane. Crazy work. Luke being on the island, diabolically brilliant change. Who thought of that? I need to shake their hand. Percy having to watch Luke in real time. Not only watch Annabeth get hit in real time, having to watch Luke kidnap her in real time. It was so good. Everyone's acting was also so great. Like, Charlie and Walker in that scene where Annabeth's dying. So good. But then also, like, when Annabeth is pretending to be nobody, Leah's acting in that scene is so great. Like, she's so funny and, like, sassy. I was like, yes. I was like, this is Annabeth. This is Annabeth Chase. Like, this entire sequence. Like, I feel like she doesn't get a lot of opportunities to be, like, sassy in a lighthearted way. Normally when she's, like, being sassy, it's, like, in, like, almost not a degrading way, but you know what I mean. Yeah. And so it was fun to get her to see her be sassy in, like, a lighthearted way, like, in the way that she would be sassy if she was, like, a normal kid. And then you got, like, Percy and Annabeth, like, pretending to be sheep. That was so fucking funny. It's so good. And again, Leah, I feel like, really led the charge in that scene as well with her acting. Like, she was the one that started making the sheep noises. And I was like, I could never be an actor. If they were like, today, we are going to have you guys be with the sheep, okay? You're going to be crawling with the sheep. Oh, and you're going to baw never. Like a sheep. It was all just so good. And I feel like this episode was very Percy Jackson. Like, there's no other way to say it. Like, it was funny in the way that the books are funny, but it was also, like, serious when it needed to be serious. And it was just fun because it was like the peak of the quest that we've been waiting for. And obviously there's more to come after the quest with, like, episode 7 and 8, but, like, it was the peak of the quest. And that's always, like, what I feel like is like most exciting to see in every book, every season, because it's like, this is what we've been building up to this whole time. Like, yes, we're seeing the quest happen. And, like, I think a lot of production stuff went into this episode that made this episode really great. Like, filming on location for all of the outdoor scenes for, like, Polyphemus' island was great. Lots of practical effects with, like, Polyphemus' cave and just Polyphemus' makeup in general. All of that, I think, adds together to make, like, a great episode. So... Oh, yeah. It's just, I feel like, yeah, it's the Percy Jackson episode. Like, if I were to be like, okay, there's an episode I have to give somebody who may have never seen the show and, like, choose one, it would be this one. Yeah. I'd be like, this one kind of captures that humor, but also, like, the emotional stakes that comes with the episode. And I feel like I just felt great. Like, it was a great, like, I don't want to say I felt, like, happy, because the episode didn't end on, like, the happiest note, right? Like, Annabeth's kidnapped. They have to go get her. They don't have the fleece. Like, it's a sad note, but I felt like, yeah, this is what I want to see. And I want to feel like that when I watch this show. My fiance made an interesting point when we watched it, because, like I said, he's not a book reader, and when we watched the episode, he said that he was enjoying it, like, so far the most out of all the episodes, because it had, like, the least amount of, like, talking or explaining going on. It was mostly just, like, the physical act of the quest,
which kind of makes sense because I feel like, you know, I mean, they've been getting this critique since season 1 with like exposition dumps and stuff. I feel like there weren't many exposition dumps in season 2, but there is still a lot of talking and explaining things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because, like, especially when you relate things to Greek mythology, like, odds are you're going to have a character explaining it to somebody. So it was like an episode where they're not really comparing anything to Odysseus, or they're not comparing anything to any, like, Greek mythology. So nobody has to explain anything of what's going on. And it's a lot of like, physical acting, or like you're just watching and understanding what the characters are physically doing, which I feel like can be a nice respite from episodes with lots of talking.
Yeah, I think this is an episode really, especially, I think this is a really interesting episode to see each of, because this was an episode with all 6 of the main characters, which we really hadn't gotten in a minute. And I think it's really interesting to see. I think this is a perfect episode of like how all 6 of them play into their characters and how they perfectly fit those roles, and being able to play into those roles of their different dynamics and work with each other. Because it was like pairings that you expected but also didn't expect, like Clarice, and like having the decision of their fatal flaws hitting full with Clarice and Percy in that scene. Ultimately Percy beating it out and just giving the fleece to Luke, but like seeing that, like all of their sort of character arcs come into one episode, I think is just like what makes it so good, you know.
Yes,
I agree. But yeah, I'm glad we have the same final
we had 2, technically 2 that were in the same spot,
Three-ish.
technically 3 if you put 4 at spot number 2,
but then everything else just goes down.
Yeah. Anyways, Percy Jackson season 2 is awesome.
Yay. Okay. Now that we are done with rankings and I have to reevaluate how I rank things, we are going to the season ranking. What out of 5? What are we thinking?
I mean, compared to season 1, it's a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, compared to season 1, it's much better. I agree.
But like, I feel like I could watch season 3 and then like season 2 would look like a 4 out of 5. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, I feel like it will be a 5 out of 5 until the next season comes out.
Yeah, right now it's like a 4, but I can also see it being bumped a little bit when the other seasons come out. Because, like, in the grand scheme of things, like the book.
I just think you should, honestly, I want you to go and watch all of it in one sitting when you find the time, and then, text me afterwards, because I feel like it flows really well in one sitting.
Okay.
It flows really, really well in one sitting. Like, anything that, like, feels like too short of an episode, it does not feel short when you watch it in one sitting.
Yeah, but I agree. I think it's a good season. I really do love season 2. I think it's much better than season 1 to me personally. I think together, it's really, really interesting to watch these back to back at some point.
Oh my god, I feel like I can almost not even watch season 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of, even when I was watching, like, when they did, like, the recap, I was like, oh. Now I'm like...
Not even because I think it's bad. I just feel like I'm so used to seeing our characters at the age they're at. And I personally like the age that they're at, actor-wise. I think their acting was able to be so much better in season 2 because they were able to grow up a little bit more. Like, I feel like I can't even watch them as little kids anymore. It
feels like so odd. Weird seeing,
really,
like...
Yeah.
Videos and photos. It's like, oh... That's what season 1 looked like? That's what we were watching?
Why is Percy's voice so high-pitched in my ears?
I will say, like, the first 2 episodes of season 1, I think just seeing clips of that now, I'm like, oh.
Oh, it's like a jump scare.
They're like, I know they're children, but I was like, oh, they're babies.
Yeah.
They're actually babies in this. This is actually crazy. But yeah. Maybe. But yeah, I mean... Let's close this out with, like, your hope. Let's see. Season 3 is coming, right? We get it this year. I spent, like, 30 minutes of last episode talking about the dance scene alone. So we go into it, even though that was a shock for everyone to see that they put that.
Oh my god, I lost my mind.
I clicked off of Disney Plus. I was like,
that's so crazy because they weren't even 5 seconds into the end, like the end credits before the season 3 thing popped up.
It was my first time doing a reaction that long on camera, and I was so tired. I was like, I'm done. I
I
can't.
follow. I got it.
I
I'm so
can't.
used to sitting for long periods of time. Wait until you ever film a reaction video to a movie.
Oh my God. I don't think I've done that. So I usually am watching. I'll just like watch before work. So I would usually sit through the credits. But this is the one time I went, I'm so tired. I'm sick. I'm tired.
So funny.
And I logged out. And then I open up social media. I'm like, oh, was that part of the podcast clip? No. I just had to watch it for another 3 seconds. And I would have saw
That's
it.
so funny.
You know, we all make mistakes. You know, there's always things that we could improve on in our lives. And me, it's being patient. Rapid fire, really quick. What are your thoughts for season? Like, I had season 3 predictions, but we both kind of know how it's going to go. But what do you think? What's something you think they might change from the books?
I just feel like we're gonna get a lot more of the hunters. I think we're gonna get more nuance with them, which I am excited for because I think that they're very interesting. But outside of like Zoe, they can be kind of one note in the book. So I think we're gonna get more with them. I hope we see Percy use more of his powers.
I think we
like,
have to, because especially
we saw him in episode 5 on like Cersei's Island. Like we saw his powers kind of spiral out of control when he was like panicking over his fatal flaw. I'd really like to see that happen when he spirals out over Annabeth.
Yeah.
That'd be good. I would like to see them also include more Tyson because I know Tyson's like not in the book at all. So
I think he has like a tiny little
he has like an iris message.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to Nico and Bianca because duh. I'm excited for Bianca's death because I just feel like we're going to get some insane acting.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what it does to this show to actually have, like, a major death happen. Because, like, they've had, like, the crazy battle now at the end of season 2, but, like, no one really died. Everyone was just kind of, like, injured.
Yeah.
Seeing our characters deal with an actual death, I think, is going to be really interesting. I'm really excited to see Annabeth holding up the sky. Like, all of that, all those visuals, I'm really excited for.
I'm really interested to see how they do that. I think that's going to be
Same.
I can't even imagine how technically they're going to have to work that out. I feel like that's like one of the biggest things that's like you can't avoid it. Like you could technically avoid the bubble, you can't avoid the holding the sky.
No, but I feel like holding the sky is something that you can find a way to do that practically. I feel like the underwater bubble, that's all CGI, and that's something that I think is really hard to make the visual look decent for. 2 things that I'm super excited for season 3 involve the gods. I'm excited to see Athena for real.
Me too.
And see how she treats Percy. And I'm excited to see Ares and Aphrodite on my screen together. Sorry. I think it's actually going to be really funny and interesting. I think Adam Copeland and Kate McKinnon are going to have a fantastic dynamic.
I'm really excited for the Council of the Gods, like that whole scene as a whole. I think that's going to be so interesting. It's basically them trying to decide if they're going to kill a child, which like in the aspect of things is like kind of crazy. But I'm excited.
More Poseidon.
How the gods interact with each other is like, especially, I don't know how they're going to do that, but I'm really interested to see that.
One of my favorite scenes in season 1 is the scene between Poseidon and Zeus.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I think we gotta wrap this up, but is there anything else you would like to share with the audience?
I mean, if you want to hear me talk about the episodes for what I could probably assume will be an hour, you can watch my video where I rank the episodes on my channel whenever that comes out.
Yeah. What's that? Where can the people find you if they want to see?
You can find me at Cameron Silas on basically anything. I do a lot of YouTube. I also just tweet a lot like it's my personal diary. And I post on Instagram from time to time. And then I also do TikTok.
Hi. So that's it for this episode. Next week's episode, sadly, is the season finale of the AfterShow season 1. And it feels bittersweet. So I will just leave it at that. If you like me and you want to listen to me more, other than the after show, you can subscribe to Melanated Wise Girl on YouTube, where you might be watching this, or if you're listening on Spotify, you can also subscribe to the Melanated Wise Girl after show if you want to know when new episodes are coming out and when season 2 of the Melanated Wise Girl After Show, or the iteration of it of sorts, is coming out. You can also follow me on other social media platforms, including Twitter, which is Melon Wise Girl, and then on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky, I am Melanated Wise Girl fully. That's it for me. I hope you have a great rest of your day or beginning of your day or wherever you're listening to your podcast. Let me know your rankings for the episodes in the comments, either on Spotify or YouTube. But yeah, thanks. Bye.